This is Steve Cochran. Welcome to Live from My Office, and thank you for being here. You know, when I was a little kid, I thought if I could just grow up and someday realize my dream of being a podcaster. First, someone will have to invent podcasting. Secondly, I'll have to get a podcast. Well, it looks like everything worked out. And thank you for listening wherever you're listening. Don't forget to leave a comment there, like it, subscribe to it, tell your friends about it. It's all appreciated. And we, of course, want to thank our presenting sponsor, David Hochberg and Team Hochberg. Man, I have no idea why you wouldn't look into this. Save money on a refi, save money on financing your house to start with, figure out how to save money on school loans, get help with credit card debt, rehabbing the house. He can help you with that. This guy knows money, and he knows everything related to your house that costs money. David Hochberg, Team Hochberg, 855-56-DAVID or 56david.com. I mentioned you could leave comments, here, wherever you're listening to the podcast on all the platforms, but also you could drop me an email, thecochronshow@gmail.com. That's thecochronshow@gmail.com. And just keep in mind, anything you write to me could end up on a future podcast. Good, bad, or indifferent. Today, the great General Borling will join us. Longest serving prisoner of war in Vietnam, an American hero, and then some. And a guy who started something called SOS America. That's sosamerica.org. We'll tell you more about that coming up. And then something completely different. For those of you who have gone a little quarantine crazy, trying to find entertaining things for the kids to do, how about letting them use their imagination even more? Kristin Broadwell spends a lot of time in Chicago. She's an actress, a successful actress, and her sister Brooke is a successful art teacher. And in the art world, anyway, they got together with their strengths and their sisterhood, and they put together something called Paper People Play for your little kiddos to use their imagination with the world of paper dolls. Who needs an app? We'll tell you more about that coming up, too, as she will be our second guest on the show today. Okay, time for a brand new feature on Live from My Office. Let's call this feature, How Come Nobody in the Meeting Spoke Up and Told Us We Were Fools? This is from Robert Feeder's blog that is a terrific must-read on the media landscape of the world, and, of course, here in Chicago, where we do Live from My Office live. Look, he did a story this week, which is really remarkable. I have a lot of friends at the Chicago Tribune. I've had them through the years. Tribune Publishing takes care of putting out the newspaper here and wherever Tribune owns papers. They did something this week which is just, it's stunning to me. And it goes right in the central world of, well, don't hit send until you've thought it out. To their employees in the newspaper business came an email that said the following: we're pleased to inform you that we are providing targeted bonuses between $5,000 and $10,000 this year. Turns out the whole thing was a phishing scam test, phishing. Phishing is one of the main ways creeps try to get your money or your parents' money, your grandparents' money, anybody's money, by trying to get you to click on a link. They were seeing who in the company would be vulnerable to this and how effective this sort of phishing scam would be. Totally legit, except for the fact that massive cuts at the Tribune have caused people to lose their jobs long before COVID-19, and continued cuts put amazing stress on everybody still trying to put out great journalism on a daily basis for Tribune Publishing. I mean, you talk about tone deaf. There was a half-hearted apology that came from Tribune Publishing, but, in a situation where morale has been missing for a long time, what is wrong with you people for doing this? I mean, we all need to figure out a way to be more positive, right? We got to figure out a way to kind of look on the bright side of things. You know what you do? Here's your test in mind. We need a mental health escape, something that makes you happy. I'm playing in a member guest tournament at my golf club this week. Makes me happy. I encourage you to find something for you that makes you happy, because you'll be better for your family, better for the people that you work with and around. You got to take care of you before you can take care of everybody else. That's how you're going to maximize your life. So find something that makes you happy. That's all. That's the challenge. And it's doable. And we all need more of that right now as we continue to live in a world of COVID-19. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and General Borling will join me. Again, thanks to David Hochberg and Team Hochberg, and thank you for listening to Live from My Office. Live from my office, sponsored by David Hochberg and Team Hochberg. What is Team Hochberg? Well, powered by Homeside Financial. Been doing loans since 2000, licensed to provide mortgage lending services across this great country of ours. Team Hochberg really makes the process simple. All you have to do is grab a couple of pieces of your own paperwork, stuff that you should have in a particular place anyway, and don't make him call you 11 or 12 times to get that. Just do your part. They'll roll with it, and they're going to be able to save you a whole bunch of money. They have dedicated in-house support staff that, of course, includes underwriters and closing folks. And you're not going to get some closing scam when you work with David Hochberg and Team Hochberg. It's not some teaser thing that comes in. If he says he's going to help you with closing costs, he's going to help you with closing costs. He's going to get you the lowest possible number, and you're going to feel better about it because you're going to get a great rate, and you're going to deal with somebody who's going to be just as thrilled as you are that you got that great rate, because that's why he goes to work. He goes to work because he's got plenty. Let me tell you something. He's got plenty of money. He goes to work so he can now be the guy to help you get over the hump. There's a million scenarios of things that have happened, and he knows all of them. So here's the deal. Don't be embarrassed. There's nothing you can tell him that he hasn't heard already. It's David Hochberg and Team Hochberg, 855-56-DAVID or 56david.com. This is live from my office, and I don't say this just because he could kill me with his bare hands. My favorite guest, General John Borling, joins us again. Good morning, sir. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever people are listening.
What a high compliment! Your favorite guest. My word, I'm struck speechless. Almost.
Actually, you and I have never been speechless.
We're approaching the autumnal equinox. And this is when, as you know, light and dark are approximately the same. In fact, it's on the 22nd at about 8 o'clock in the morning our time that they will be. And then the days obviously start to, the dark starts to lengthen. But it seems to me that we have been in the dark for a long time in this country. And we need flashes of light. And maybe our conversation today will provide a few of those flashes of light. I would hope so.
Well, I think that's a great way to kick it off. And there's a couple things I want to mention. Your Service Over Self Foundation, SOS America, we're going to get to that. But in regards to service, you and I have never really talked in great detail about the amazing life you've led and continue to lead. So I want to touch on that a little bit as well. But also, I want to alert people to the column you write, which is kind of what you're talking about here with these flashes of light, because it's a conversation creator. Tell everybody about that.
Well, for the last year and a half I've been writing a Sunday column called The Third Degree. It argues, persuasively, I hope, that I have regard and respect for your knowledge, Steve, and that of your listeners. I have regard for your capacity to explore, make determinations yourself, but I reserve the right to ask hard questions. And so I focus on a specific word or a phrase every week and ask hard questions about that word and try to meld in greater meanings for self and state and nation. But in the end, I try to pitch fastballs down the middle and let people hit them where they will. But it forces kind of that Reinhold Niebuhr term of agonizing reappraisal. At least I would hope so. And from the reports we're getting, it's pretty good. And I put a few out. In fact, I'm going to do a book on it. I'm going to call the book Interrogation. And much like Krauthammer did that thing with all his columns, I'm going to try to put a preface in as to what motivated this whatever particular column it is, and then some conclusions at the end. But I'm going to try to keep it devoid of my personal opinions, although it's hard to do, and I catch myself. The format is in bullet form, so you can look at it like you'd look at a computer screen.
Right.
And where an op-ed would be 450 to 850 words, I just try to keep mine around 350 because we've all got such a narrow attention span. But this week's thing, unprinted yet, and it's in the Rockford Register Star, the Freeport Journal, and others that pick it up on a freelance basis, is called September Song. And it deals with the messages that come from the great songs about September, and it's meant to be a lighter piece, and yet you put in some heavier notions that bear consideration. What's your favorite September song?
September, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Well, EWF. I feature them in my column this week. That has got to be, in fact, EWF September, doo-wop. Just message, great fun, energy, and love. Mm-hmm. Isn't that enough most days?
Well, it's exactly right, and I think you nailed it, because September is transitional, and it should be a transition where we all think about each other, but we seem to have lost our way in a big way here, and that's why I like the Third Degree, because it creates conversations, and for parents and grandparents sometimes struggling what to say to their teenagers about the America they live in now. I just think you give some ideas.
That was my article last week, which was Grandparents and Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
Because it was on the 13th, Uncle Sam Day, which predated the Carter initiative to establish a Grandparents' Day. But in the end, and I'm a grandparent, as you are, I believe, yep. and you find out that one word comes to mind. Well, two words. Loving irrelevance.
I love that.
But our trick is to stay relevant.
Right.
And we use these techniques. Like if we pay, they will come, and those kinds of things. Anyway, it's great fun. We keep great balance. Yeah.
Again, it's the Third Degree, and if you just do a Google search for General Borling and the Third Degree, you'll find out where you can get it very quickly, or just go to the Rockford Star-Ledger website as well.
All right. You can do that too.
All right, so a little background here. You grew up on the south side of Chicago. Who in your family inspired you to become a military man for 37 years?
Well, actually, it wasn't in my family to start with. It was my professor of junior ROTC course or lessons that I elected to take. And Joe Eric, the master sergeant, World War II guy, was really formative in my young years, and I still think of him all the time. My uncle Dick was a World War II navigator on B-24s. He got shot down in World War II on their 7th mission, a deep penetration into Leipzig from England. My dad was Army Reserve. In fact, he was cavalry. I'm taking his sword to this golf tournament I'm going to today, because if things get iffy, we'll just charge, bully.
I just have this great image of you with a golf cart that's parked in a way where people can't see you until you get out, and you get out in full dress uniform with a sword.
Well, my full dress uniform is a pair of blue shorts and a black shirt that sports Warbird, an F4, which was my first fighter. And uncharacteristically, it does say, John Borling, which I don't walk around with that on my sleeve, but I'm wearing it today for one factor and one factor only. You know what it is?
Intimidation.
Absolutely, intimidation. And then the Napoleonic thing, audace, toujours audace, which is audacity.
All right, so you begin your military career. Did you know you were going to fly fighters right away? I mean,
No,
did you have an interest in it?
I didn't. In fact, I wanted to go to West Point, but I failed the test coming out of high school. It was a February out of Hirsch High School on the South Side, and tried out for Annapolis. Passed all that stuff, except I failed the physical on account of the petty officer showed it to me. We check marked it on the clipboard. Extreme ugliness, and you're laughing gently because you know the truth. But I consider myself balding but dashing. But you know the truth.
I'm in that club.
A split V, inverted V on my front teeth. I went over the handlebars of my bike, racing my female cousin. And you know how they used to cut the between the sidewalk and the lawns.
Sure.
They'd have that little trench. I got my front wheel caught in that and went over the handlebars and made a perfect, what would be later called a perfect 3-point landing, 2 knees in my face, and blew out that part of the teeth. So I told the guy, I said, "Hey, we're from the south side of Chicago. We can't," and he did it because of the teeth. He said, "You got to get them fixed before you, go to the Naval Academy."
That's fascinating to me.
Yeah. And I said, "Well, we're south side of Chicago people. We haven't got money for," I didn't even know the term cosmetic dentistry, but we haven't got money to fix them. And besides, I had a girlfriend already, so what did I care? And for the Air Force, they took 13 from the state, and I scored 14th that year. So I went away to school, Augustana College, for a year, but they found me out quickly down there, the Lutherans in Rock Island. And by the way, there is a whiz-bang candidate. Her name is Esther Joy King, and she's running for the congressional seat in the 17th district against Bustos. And I think she is just whiz-bang. She's a vet herself,
wow,
lawyer,
good story.
Servant leader. So that's a shout-out for Esther Joy King for anybody listening up.
Excellent.
In the 17th district. Anyway, so I went to school for a year and then reapplied again and frankly got accepted to all 3. But in the interim, my Uncle Dick had rolled in on me. There'd been a great football game where the little school that had 400 or 500 cadets in it at that time took PCU to a tie in the Cotton Bowl, which was impactful on me. And all of a sudden, I got this thought that, gee, maybe I do want to fly. Didn't know because I'd only been in a jet or in an airplane twice.
Mm-hmm.
It's once to and from West Point and in high school, where the Alumni Association flew 6 of us high school seniors out there. It was a heady trip, and I really came away wanting to, as I say, go to West Point. And I remember the Patton statue. Patton was at Fort Sheridan for a long time here in Illinois. And my dad, in fact, was recalled during World War II, about late 43, early 44, to active duty. And he was, 45 and a couple of kids. And so he went out to Fort Sheridan and they formed up the reserve unit. This was a cavalry unit. So they're prancing around the parade field there at Fort Sheridan on their horses. And the colonel comes out on his porch and he says, "What are you guys doing?" He said, "Well, we've been recalled and we're just going through maneuvers." This is in the day when colonels had power. He said, "Go home." He said, "We'll call you again, or we'll
let you know."
Yeah, just go home. Yeah. Well, that's where Patton kept his polo ponies. Anyway, I remember the Patton statue at West Point with his outthrust arm pointing off toward the library. And they said he pointed toward the library because it was a place he never went to.
Right. What's that building?
All of it. Yeah, what's that building? Anyway, so I got out to the academy, Air Force Academy, and that summer they put us into a P-33, which was a trainer version of the first jet fighter, the P-80 Shooting Star. And the guy I flew with was a Korean War vet. I think he was an ace, but I may be embellishing the story. But he had a bad run-through with the first 2 cadets because they had gotten sick in the airplane, and he was a little dispirited. But there I was, strapping on my action mask, and you wore a parachute, a seat pack, and we broke ground, and he said, "Your airplane." And all of a sudden, and he had told me, you pull back, push forward, left, right on the stick. And I felt so comfortable. I'd never flown an airplane in my life, but we ended up doing full acrobatic series and doing all kinds of, just wringing the airplane out. And he was having as much fun as I was. And he said, "Stay with me on the controls," as we came through for landing. And I basically felt it all the way through touchdown. And I got out of the airplane and I looked at him and I'm damn near crying. And I said, "I have to do this." I said, "I have to fly fighters." And he said, "Go get them, Tiger." And so I spent my entire 4 years and then pilot training trying to fly fighters. And I'm wearing a shirt here for this golf thing today, which has an F-4 Phantom on it, which was my first fighter. And I got that right out of pilot training.
Yeah, so. And also, by the way, F-15s, F-16s, the Phantom you mentioned, the U-2, the B-52, the B-1, you've flown them all. Were you meant to do this and didn't know? Is it all that serendipitous?
The guy you watch out for is the guy who walks into the bar and screams, "I'm the best fighter pilot in the world."
Yeah,
and that bravado goes down maybe once or twice. But Steve, that's what you believe.
You
inside.
Bet. Well, listen.
Inside, it's like being the best. It's like being the best radio commentator.
But when
aren't you the best radio commentator?
Yes, sir. Best talk show host in America, if not the world. But when you sit there and it's your airplane, you better believe you're the best. I don't want a guy in that seat going, maybe. I want a guy in that seat who knows he was meant to be there.
Well, it's not ego. It's not ego. It's confidence, and it extends over into all aspects of life, except maybe when my drive starts to fade on me and I can't figure it out. And then you wonder, where's the eye-hand coordination that kept you alive all those years?
Well, it's interesting you say hand-eye because I don't know that there's an easy answer to this, but to fly the fastest of jets and the best of technology and the greatest the Air Force and the Navy has to offer, is it hand-eye or is it between the ears or is it a combination of both?
I think it's the ability to deal with long periods of well-trained monotony interspersed with moments of stark terror. The flying is the art of controlled relaxation, except when you're in a fight, and then sometimes you got to load it up but if you get your fangs out too much, it's a good way to get killed early on. So it's both a rough and a delicate balance. But I think eye-hand coordination and certainly the ability to digest large amounts of information quickly. We had a saying in the Air Force that there are three most useless things in the world. Have I ever mentioned that?
You have not. What are the three?
Altitude above you, runway behind you, and 1 second ago.
Wow, that's goosebump stuff, and that makes total sense even to a non-pilot.
Well, it's you've taken me back to my beginnings, and if you know most pilots, the guy who was dating the really pretty girl, the pilot, and he was quite valuable, as you've made me this morning, and he talked incessantly about himself for 30 minutes nonstop on their first date, sitting down at the table for dinner, and then he realized that this was a social and error of some magnitude, and he said, "Well, look, I'm so sorry. I've been talking about myself for the last 30 minutes. Why don't you talk about me?" Yep.
I know the guy.
That's an old variation of the old joke.
Yeah,
old material.
Yeah, I know the guy. All right, so
hey, I want to inject new material. You always like
listen. You can go back to the classics are great.
Look, I want to talk about the place where we ought to be blowing trumpets and sounding drums and waving flags. Is this unmistakable breakthrough that the Trump administration has made happen with the Mideast, and more to come, apparently.
You're talking about the deal made with the UAE and Israel and Bahrain, and recognizing Israel for the first time.
No, and tacit recognition by others with respect to overflight and
that's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. It's going to put enormous pressure on Iran, for example, but it's going to put enormous pressure on the Palestinians to finally get serious and cut a deal.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't care how you feel about Trump, and I certainly have my differences with him, but I don't care how you feel about Trump. The fact is, this White House got that done, and whether they're looking for a high five or not, they deserve one, because this has the potential to change the unchangeable, which is the Middle East track that's been going on in this endless loop forever. They deserve a lot of credit. I want to take on social media with you too at some point too, and this is not just a couple of old guys sitting around talking. Every mom said some version.
What we need to do. Let me focus on. Let me jump back to SOS America, which is a service program for all our young people, 18 to 25, who choose to volunteer for a year in the military, and this would be in a support role. Put them in small units, mixed geography, mixed race, mixed socioeconomic and educational backgrounds, mixed ages. The 18-year-old is different than 20 or 23 or 25. And have them serve, men and women as they choose, 1 year, small unit. They would access, train, and serve in that unit. And this is a way to bring together the country. Yep. I get so tired of these false narratives that are out there and these theories. Neither narratives nor theories are neither proof nor fact.
All right, you got a minute here because you've got another call you've got to take. And I'm going to ask you a question that's impossible to answer in a minute. You have been a leader throughout your life, professionally and personally as well. Is leadership something you aspire to or something that finds you?
The answer is both. And then it's how you deal with it without becoming guilty of that sin, that deadly sin of arrogance, and it creeps in and you have to beat it down, or you have to have your wife help beat it out of you. But in the end, the ambition has to be charactered ambition. You have to be motivated by some kind of noble goal. You have to want it for your family, for your city, your state, your nation, and just push the rocks and keep marching. Good to march with you this morning.
You're a good man, General Borling, and please, everyone, read The Third Degree and look for much more to come from General
and join
John Borling.
SOS America.
Well, that's key. America. That's key. Start there, sosamerica.org. And thank you again for being on Live from my office.
Talk to you soon.
Whenever we talk to Mr. Hochberg, it's easy to get a hold of him. All you got to do is pick up the phone and call 855-56-DAVID or 56david.com. You know, David, there's so much information out there. Most of it's wrong, by the way, but when does a reverse mortgage actually make sense?
80-year-old father, mother passed away. Father's 80 years old, living in the same home that they had all the kids, 3 kids. Dad's on some type of limited pension or Social Security. He's been living in this house free and clear. The house is over $400,000. And each kid is given dad, or was given dad, $1,000 a month to take care of dad. Challenge is, COVID hits, their income drops. Now that $1,000 that they were giving dad that was readily available is no longer available because they're not working as much, or their husband's not working as much, or their wife's not working as much. The housing income is down. Now their debt's up because the housing income's down. Okay, and now it's getting tougher to pay that Gino to dad. In the meantime, dad's sitting on a $400,000 home. He's 80 years old. For the love of God, I'm like, what are you guys doing? You could take out up to $280,000, gain access to up to $280,000 from dad's home. Dad needs a new roof. It was like $20,000 for the new roof.
Right, get it done.
I get it. I understand. You got to take care of dad. You made the promise to mom before she passed, you're going to take care of dad. I go, dad's sitting on 280 G's. Why are you struggling?
Right.
You guys should be using that $1,000 to take care of your family. I'm not saying not take care of dad, but dad's sitting on a pile of cash. It frustrates me that people don't see that.
But that's a big part of it. That's a big part of why they need to call 855-56-DAVID or 56david.com, because you guys get it. And you can, as you always do, David, you can calmly, rationally explain it to him, because your voice is always a warm hug for people.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Hochberg, he'll cut to the chase when he needs to because he's just trying to help. This is Live from my office, Steve Cochran. And one of the cool things about being able to do this and not have to have meetings with geniuses in management to tell me, oh, what if you did this? Is when I hear about somebody cool, I can go, well, that sounds like a good idea. Let's talk to them. And this is an example of that. A mutual friend of ours said, you got to call Kristin Broadwell, an actress and an innovator, as far as I'm concerned, who joins us now to talk about something cool you could do with your little kids. Kristin, thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
So this, you're in your, as I understand it, you and your sister Brooke came up with an idea that kind of, well, maybe it's a new way of looking at paper dolls, but it really struck with me because I've got a 4.5-year-old granddaughter who rules my world, and this is just a home run for her.
Oh, yeah. Well, we did it to bring generations together. We wanted to create a toy or product that actually collaborates with both of our skills. She's an artist and I'm an actor. And we're like, what can we do that we can work together? And we used to play with paper dolls as children. And we're like, this would be fun to bring to the kids. You know, it brings something that's old, make it new again, and put a little spin on it, make a YouTube channel where they create their own plays and play along with the play. So that's how we thought that we would do this. And, you know, it's been fun for the kids. And right now it's free on our website, so it's a good resource for parents to grab and be interactive with their children.
Yeah, and my Abigail has a terrific imagination, and sometimes we overthink it, right? We go, well, if I get her this really expensive doll, or if I do this or do that. Sometimes it's as simple as a paper doll because the child's imagination, that's the key.
Yeah, the simple toys are the best toys, and these are also good for the minimalist. You can just put them in an envelope and put them in a drawer, and they're not as messy. But yeah, they're easy to play with, and it also allows kids to paint on them. We have art lessons and things that they can engage with as well. So we're just trying to work with the arts and the theater perspective, and then like painting and drawing as well.
Now, working with your sister, I think it'd be risky because you could end your friendship and your family, but you must get along really well.
Yeah, we do. We still get along. She's in North Carolina. I'm in Chicago. I go back and forth from Chicago and New Mexico. So, yeah, it's a good way to have a business together. And with it being online, it makes things easy.
All right. Now, there's some freebies on the website, and the website, by the way, is paperpeopleplay.com. But you make it easy for folks to try it, right?
Yeah. So our paper dolls right now, they're free. You just go to the website and you can download the paper dolls. And you get all the paper dolls. We have 6 characters. There's 5 kids, and then we have an animal. We have a cat, and you download those. And then we also have costumes so that they can play along with our stories that we have on our YouTube channel. And then all of our art lessons are free as well.
And you also you can go to Amazon, and there's a link to Amazon here to buy toys that you can have the paper dolls be interactive with. And I know Melissa and Doug are a big part of that, and they just do great stuff for little kids.
Yeah, we that's with the affiliate, we work with them, so that's just recommendations we have for parents to just use for imaginative play, so they can, because we're all about using their imagination, and those are just toys that help with that. So yeah, those toys are great. The Melissa and Doug toys as well.
Is there a target age range for paper play?
Paper people play, yeah.
People play. Sorry, I got my P's out of order.
It's okay. 3 to 7 is usually the age that's most attracted to it. But it's funny because even the older generations, like the grandparents, are into it because they really played with paper dolls to their age range. So they're interested as well. It's funny because on our email list, I have a lot of grandparents who actually are pulling them for their, like yourself, that are pulling them for their kids because they can relate to them even more.
And much unlike when I was a little kid, this is for boys and girls. It should have been back in the day as well, but we didn't play with paper dolls. We were too busy breaking things and playing G.I. Joe. This is cool because brothers and sisters could do it together too.
Yeah, and our characters, like we try to bring, they're not just paper dolls. We want to bring the characters alive, and they have their own personalities. And we created the characters so that they would represent like a public school, like a melting pot of different cultures. And then we wanted to have a sibling situations. We have a brother and sister, and the 2 boys, and they're all named after paper terms. So everything in their world is based on paper. But yeah, we have little boys as well. Just the kids, the little boys can feel like a part of something as well. And the art can be for anybody. It doesn't. Sure. It's not gender related at all.
So when you think of what makes you happy about this, what do you hope kids will get out of this or families will get out of this?
We just want to free them, free their imaginations and just make something that's simple. Like sometimes, like what we were talking about at the beginning, sometimes the simple is the best. Like it doesn't have to be like the most expensive toy. This one you just need a printer and some ink, and then you can print it off and you can just tear it up and start over again because we have things that you can color. But just to make kids happy and explore their personalities, and that's what we really wanted to get out of it, and bring generations together. We want parents to be able to play with their kids, and it's an easy toy to do that with.
Yeah, and for those of you who have run out of ideas in the middle of the insane year of 2020, this is a great new way to go. You mentioned the art lessons are for everybody. So if you're a frustrated artist, you can have fun with your kids or grandkids while you're visiting that side of your creativity that maybe you left behind a while ago.
Yeah, and then we also do have some art for parents. We have they're letters, the monogram letters that parents can paint, because art therapy is a big part of all of this. Like, we really want people to, when you do engage in art, it's very relaxing. And we do have art for parents as well, so that they can, create something as well with their kids. But this is more, it's more advanced for the parents. So we have something for a little bit of for everybody.
Paperpeopleplay.com is the website, and everything you need to know is right there. And give it a try. I think you're going to get hooked really quickly. And Abigail and I will give you a free review. That'd be great. Yeah, it's all about the comments. Now you're an actress as well, so tell me about that side. Are you doing any of the stuff that gets shot in Chicago?
Yeah, well, I go back and forth from Chicago and New Mexico. My most recent thing that I was in was Better Call Saul. I had a very small role in that, which was a lot of fun. And that was outside of, that was in New Mexico. But I've been acting in Chicago for probably like 10 years. I went to the school at Steppenwolf, which was a fantastic experience, and also graduated from the Second City Conservatory.
Yep.
And I remember Improv Olympic, it used to be called.
Yep.
And then I've done some theater in the city, and just different independent films in Chicago. But I love the Chicago acting community. They're great.
So your sister's in North Carolina. Tell us from the accent where you're from. North
Carolina. So we're from Raleigh.
Yeah, so North Carolina, and what's a nice Southern girl doing in Chicago other than acting? Have you gotten used to the winters?
They can have their days, but I don't mind it. I'm kind of one of those people that likes to stay home and cozy, so I don't mind it too much. I mean, in February it gets a little bit obnoxious, but and the summers just are so good here, so. I'll fight it out for the summers and the falls. So
yeah,
it's not that bad. I love it.
It's America's greatest city. It really is.
I think so. I really do. I think it is. I've traveled a lot, and I still think Chicago's the best. I love it so much.
Have you had a chance to get out on the lake and have some fun in the years you've been here?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We go on Lake Michigan. My husband has a boat, so we go out on that a lot, and just eating out in the restaurants and just enjoying the river and or the side over there on Canal. I love it. I love everything about Chicago. I love the nightlife. I love the restaurants. There's a lot of great theater here.
Yep. And it's a really vibrant acting community. It's not just the Broadway and Chicago stuff. I mean, there are black box theaters everywhere. There's the experiences you talked about, and now, thanks to Dick Wolf, there's one of the biggest television production operations in the country.
Yeah, he's done a lot. Yes, it's great over there with Cinespace Studios. They've done a lot of work and brought in a lot of films over into Chicago, which is fantastic.
What got you interested in being an actress as a kid? Did you know somebody?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What got you interested in theater and being an actress when you were a kid? Did you know somebody who inspired you?
No, I just have always been interested in it. And then when I came to Chicago, there was acting classes and things like that. So I took advantage of the acting classes and then got hooked. And then when I got into the school at Steppenwolf, I quit my job and then just started pursuing it full time. Just because Steppenwolf was a hard program to get into. So it's one of those things, like if you can get in, then you kind of need to do it. But I actually was in I worked at Roosevelt University with the online programs, the distance learning. So I was in charge of putting classes online. And it's interesting now how online learning is such a big part of our life.
Right. Oh, it's crazy, right? Yeah, it's all about that. And they're trying to do as much production stuff online as well. But there was a Zoom movie that came out recently. I think it was called Love in the Time of COVID. And everybody's trying to be creative just to keep the business rolling until we get a vaccine or get back to some semblance of a normal life.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully it'll be sooner than later. I know that I have a friend, she's in a web series, it's called Distant Learners or something, Distance Learners, and it's about, the Zoom. It's really funny.
Listen, I love your idea. Paper People Play, paperpeopleplay.com, and go poke around the website, print those dolls, play with them, and see what you think. I'm sure you'll want to do more. And
and we also have brush pens for the families as well. They're free on our website. We're doing a back to school special, and you just pay shipping. So
that's cool.
We're just giving everything away.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got to figure out a way for you to make more money and stop being so generous.
I know we have a couple of things. My mom's like, "When are you going to make money on this?" And I'm like, "I don't." There's a couple of things on there for sale. So, get the brush pens for free, and then maybe get it something that you can paint for yourself. The ones for the parents, we have a price tag on those. So.
Right, and you'll either way, you're going to be a hero to kids everywhere, and that's not so bad.
Yeah, we hope they enjoy them.
So, paperpeopleplay.com. It's Kristin Broadwell. I hope we can talk again.
That'd be great. Thank you, Steve, so much. It was nice talking to you.
Well, if you've listened this far, you've already heard our charity of the episode. Each episode, we bring you a charitable organization worthy of mention. We didn't talk about it very much with General Borling, but I am a proud contributor to SOS America, Service Over Self. It's a little lengthy to explain in short order here on the podcast, so I'd encourage you just to go to the website. Service Over Self is at sosamerica.org, sosamerica.org. It's an innovative thing that General Borling is trying to get done so that all of us can be a part of Team America. Again, it's sosamerica.org. I hope you'll check it out and know that I'm a contributor there. On social media, I'm at Cochran Show on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Twitter, and Steve Cochran Show on Instagram. Oh, speaking of Twitter, don't forget the Trump dump continues right through Election Day, a daily highlight, in quotes, of things that he did that make him so non-presidential. Things that you may have forgotten because there's scandals every day with this guy. Check it out. See if you needed to be reminded and relive those moments that kind of help you look back over the last 4 years and go, what the hell happened? Before we go, John DeCoste, the musical director of the show, put together, along with his son Christopher, a new theme. Play a little snippet of that as we go out and tell your friends. And again, thank you for listening to Live from My Office.
30 years plus on the airwaves, you have turned your dial to me. Now you're tuned into my podcast. It's Live from My Office, Steve. From Ithaca, New York, to Carolina South, W. Cochran, Steve. From Minneapolis and then Chicago twice, top-rated shows achieved. Sit back, relax, and now listen to my show. When or wherever you are, 'cause you're on the go. A-list celebs with some laughs and great info. Live from my office, the Steve Cochran Podcast Show. Yeah. No better place to be. Yeah. Subscribe and like for free. Yeah. Live from my office, Steve. So glad you're with me. It's Live from my office, Steve.
Live from My Office is a service of Monkey Run Productions. All rights reserved. The podcast is hosted by Steve Cochran, and it's mixed, edited, and produced by me, Ross Cochran. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening, and follow Steve on all social media channels. Get in touch with us directly with questions or comments about the show by emailing thecochranshow@gmail.com. Steve is available for corporate speaking gigs. He would love to MC your event, and occasionally, he's funny. Thank you for listening. Head to cochranshow.com for more.